Hello everyone, my name is Masayama from the Japan Padel Academy. Today I want to talk about a method to help people who struggle with their rebote takebacks becoming too large. This includes people who are told to reduce their rebote takeback during sessions or lessons, but can't seem to get it right. I want to share some recommended methods for these individuals. Let's dive in. Before we go deeper into the topic, I want to discuss the size of the rebote's takeback. If you're taking lessons or attending a club, you might have been advised by your coach to make your takeback and rebote takeback more compact. And other observations might be about reducing its size because it's too big. This advice can vary from coach to coach. However, we often have to skip over these details in group lessons because there's limited time for discussion. Now, almost every padel coach in Japan has a tennis coaching background. That's why, in my opinion, people are typically advised to reduce the rebote's takeback. I believe coaches tend to favor more compact tennis strokes over larger takebacks. For example, a tennis takeback or stroke might look like this. But if you hit with that in rebote, it's too big. That's why, subconsciously, we're inclined to hit a more compact rebote than the takeback stroke in tennis. If you're transitioning from tennis to paddle or are new to racket sports, the same usually applies, just like in tennis. People who have played tennis tend to adopt the same stroke habits. This often results in an oversized takeback, which is why the general advice is to keep it small. However, a point to note is that a smaller takeback or rebote takeback is not always better. It's not that a smaller takeback is always better, but it does hold true that a smaller takeback is better than a tennis stroke's takeback. However, it's not accurate to say that smaller is always better. In padel, having a large takeback is usually a disadvantage. It's beneficial to be smaller, so rather than explaining why, let's just aim for a smaller takeback. What usually happens on most courts is that people try to hit with a smaller takeback. Broadly speaking, the advantage of having a large takeback is that it allows you to increase the speed of your swing, making it easier to hit stronger and faster balls. But the downside is that there can be a delay in swinging and sometimes it generates too much power. On the other hand, the disadvantage of having a small takeback is that the ball doesn't travel as far. As with the earlier example, the ball doesn't travel far because there is almost no run-up distance to reach full speed. The short swing width, although a disadvantage, does enable you to catch up with the opponent's fast balls. Those who have played padel to some extent will be able to relate to this. It's more about not being able to transfer your power to the ball and the ball not reaching the opponent's court. More often than not, the problem arises when too much of your power is transferred to the ball and it goes out. A long time ago, tennis wasn't a high-performance racket sport. There was a time when I was told that if I didn't deliver my power properly, it wouldn't reach the other person's court. However, in recent years, or maybe 2 years ago, that has ceased to be an issue, given that courts are still smaller than tennis courts. I think few people struggle to reach their opponent's court. With this, I aim to reduce the instances where I transmit too much power and lose it. It's better to have a smaller takeback. When the rebound ball starts to get lower and faster, the more compact the ball, the more you can catch. Generally, it's advised to make the rebound small and compact. Many coaches give this advice. On the other hand, as I just said, if it's too small, the ball actually won't fly. Generally, what my coach told me is to keep the takeback small and compact. There are people who are really trying to hit the ball hard with almost no takeback, trying to catch the ball in between. I see it sometimes, so it falls into the category of being a little too small. Being too big is basically bad, but being too small is also not conducive to good play. I believe that it's better to be somewhere in the middle. Furthermore, the size of the takeback should be adjusted based on the speed of the ball that the opponent hits and the speed of the ball you want to hit. This means that if your opponent's ball is fast and you want to hit a fast ball, if your opponent's ball is fast and you want to hit a slow ball, if your opponent's ball is slow and you want to hit a strong ball, or if your opponent's ball is slow and you want to hit a slow ball too. Broadly speaking, there are many intermediate situations between these four cases. Divided into these four categories, bigger takeback is better when the opponent's ball is slow and you want to hit it hard. It's obvious, but the opponent's ball doesn't have any energy. So you need to generate energy from yourself. Unless you take a certain amount of takeback, the swing speed of the racket won't increase. There are also situations where it's better to have a large takeback in order to swing quickly. Also, what happens when your opponent's ball is fast but you want to hit it slowly? Since the opponent's ball already has energy, there's no need to add your own energy. The goal can be achieved even without much takeback. Therefore, whether it's better to have a larger or smaller takeback, it's not so straightforward. There should be a standard size. I think that would be better. You have to hit according to those standards. You have to hit with a small takeback or with a big takeback. It doesn't blend very well in a variety of situations that can happen in a court. It's better to change depending on the situation or the ball you want to hit. I believe that will lead to better play. Now let's move on to the forced methods of how to reduce takeback if the takeback is large. I want to share how it can be forced. Even though it's a forced method, it's not that difficult. Normally, when you hit the rebote, this hoop part passes through your dominant wrist. The forced method involves passing the hoop part through your non-dominant hand and hitting the rebote. This is a forced method that reduces the size of the takeback. You will understand why it gets reduced once you watch the video. With your left arm attached, it becomes a bit difficult to make large turns, so I try to end it at a point where it doesn't hurt my left arm or body. Since you will be in a situation where you can't take a take back, hitting the ball from that situation will be the size of the take back that is a comparative standard for rebote. I suggest you try it out on the court once and remember how it feels to hit the ball with the hoop passed through your non-dominant hand. If you keep doing the same takebacks, even if you remove this hoop, you will gradually get used to the idea of small, compact takebacks. I hope that you will continue to do this. Thank you for watching the video. In addition to regular classes and player classes, the Padel Academy holds a one-day paddle camp in Chiba Prefecture on weekends. This includes a 4-hour event of practice, 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon. I head to a local school each week for this event, but I'm struggling to improve. Conversely, the participants are those who find it tough to travel to Chiba Prefecture every week, but want to practice a lot. I will write links and details in the summary section, so please take a look if you're interested. Let's learn together.